Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
And welcome back. A little more sports for you here. Nicholls State University is playing host to the Louisiana Lion Camp. NFL draft analyst and Sports on the Bayou host Mike Detillier was at the camp on Monday to talk with some of this year's camp counselors. In this segment, we will hear from one of the camp founders, Pete Jenkins.
Mike Detillier for HTV. I'm with Pete Jenkins, legendary line coach. Pete, you started this, you, Jesse, Kenny Pharaoh,
right,
over 30 years back.
Yeah.
And to see it move, what it was under 50, and now we got 700 kids here today, amazing.
Yeah. It's been amazing for me too, Mike. Tells you something about the importance and the enjoyment that people get from football in our state. I mean, it's just amazing. After watching it grow, we don't do a lot of advertising, and everything. It's a lot of it's word of mouth, and a lot of it's through the high school coaches and everything. But I couldn't be more happy and proud of what's happened here at Nicholls State.
This is a technique camp. This isn't a recruiting camp, because we see it's a lot of one-on-one type things in these recruiting camps. But this is, if you got a second string guy, if you're a freshman, you're trying to learn, this is what you want to be at. This is the place.
This is your camp. This is the camp for you. It really is. The goal here is for every kid that comes here, that when the camp ends, he's a better football player. He's better at skills that are needed in football. So that's the goal. That's really, when Jesse and Kenny and I started, that was the mission of the camp. And we've never changed. We've never deviated. So it doesn't matter if you're a 1-star, no star, 5-star. It doesn't matter. You're welcome in this camp. And we're going to work with you and try to help you get as good as you can get.
Think about it. We had like 10 NFL coaches. They've just finished OTAs. So they walk off that practice field. Yeah. They get on a plane or they get in a car and come drive here. A lot of that is because of you, because they want to work with you, but also they want to work with the kids.
They do.
But you're a big part of it.
I'm always impressed with how hard they work with these guys, because they're accustomed to working with a different level of athlete. And they all make a lot of money, mate. They don't come here to make money. They come here because of the love of the game and the love of helping kids get better. And it's pretty inspirational to me. And I want you to know this. I don't recruit them to this camp. They call me. I don't call them. They call me. And they want to come to this camp. We had a guy this year, Ryan Crow, first time he'd been with us, from the Titans, outside linebacker coach. I didn't know him from a sack of rabbits. He called me and he said, I've heard so much about that camp and the development down there and everything. I'd really like to come if you'd have me. And I said, absolutely. You're our kind of guy. So, I don't. They make that choice, and I think they're great for the camp. They're great for the high school coaches. Because, look, if you could see them at night, you wouldn't know one of them was the coach at Kansas City Chiefs and the other one coaches at E.D. White.
Right. They're
all coaches, and they enjoy each other's company and everything. This is after practice in the evening. And so I'm gratified that they want to come here like that.
I talked to Brandon Daly yesterday, and we doing an interview, and I look up and I see this tall kid standing up. I was like, that cannot be your son. He was like, Mikey, he's a linebacker out in St. Louis. But think about Brandon. He's been here. He told me he thinks it's close to 20 years.
Long time. I mean,
he's been here. And the fact that you said it best, he's a really good defensive coach. Now he coaches linebackers today. He coached defensive line, but he's even better picker quarterbacks because he's been on 7 Super Bowl teams, 5 winners with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, I tell him, you're a really great defensive football coach. And I've known him since he was a GA in college, but he knows how to pick a quarterback.
So that's pretty doggone good when you got Mahomes and Brady. You win a lot of games.
You got a chance to be in the Super Bowl.
Every week.
Absolutely.
Every time we have you on the radio on WWL, we always talk about, about Coach Saban.
Yeah.
And you've had a long relationship with Coach.
Yeah.
I think the Sports Illustrated article was awesome because for a lot of people, like I knew it, but for a lot of people, they didn't realize the relationship with you and Nick.
Yeah.
And then you got that nickname, The Wolf.
The Wolf, yeah. Yeah. That's a Pulp Fiction outgrowth. I really thought that Detillier that wrote it, I thought he did a good job.
Ross did a great job.
I thought it was a really well-written.
Ross actually worked here for the Picayune for quite a few years.
Yeah. He's good.
He's good.
And, I had no idea what he was going to do. Actually, when he first approached me about it, Coach Saban's not a relationship guy, and I said, Ross, I don't want to do that. I really don't. I don't want to ask Coach Saban anything like that. I mean, me and Coach Saban, we business associates, you know what I mean? I mean, we're friends, but we ain't buddies, So he said, and it's what Ross said to me, he's already given me 30 minutes individual time to talk about you. And I said, well, I guess I'll do it if he's done that. But I didn't want him to ask Ross. I don't want Ross to ask Coach Saban, how do you feel about Pete Jenkins? I didn't want to do that. But anyways, he came to our house, and I think he spent about 4.5 hours there. It was a long interview. But Coach Saban is not your everyday, ordinary.
No, he's not.
Yeah, there's a lot of things there to talk about with Coach Saban and everything. But listen, Mike, I want to tell you, I would tell you this: he has been so good to Pete Jenkins.
And we'll be back with a lot more. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Welcome back. We continue with a look at the Louisiana Line Camp. Mike Detillier was at Nicholls State Monday morning. He spoke with another one of the longtime camp coaches, Don Rodrigue.
Mike Detillier here on HTV along with Coach Rod, Don Rodrigue. We had the Louisiana Line Camp on the campus of Nicholls State University. Coach, record breaker this weekend for his attendance, 700 kids, basically you could say. And man, just how this camp has grown and so quickly here.
Well, 1987 under 100, and now 2023 we're right under 700. How it's grown? Well, when you have a good product, it sells itself, and getting the Louisiana high school coaches to work the camp, they go back to their community, their coaching buddies, and in turn that they want to come. We had to shut down registration online on the Friday night before, like a week before the camp started. We always used to shut it down on the Thursday morning of the camp, but this year we had so many, we had to shut it down. And of course, we knew we would go get a lot of phone calls, so we would take that call, write down their name, and as soon as we got some more beds, we would call them and shoot them a text and email and call them, and they would come to the camp. So, and when the radios, Kevin Mawai, Pete Jenkins, myself, getting on the radio and talking up the camp, and when you have Pete Jenkins, Kevin Mawai talking, and they say it's good, people listen. So that's part of the reason why we keep growing.
Coach, one of the things is, summer in Thibodaux, this ain't Tahiti. You ain't on the beach, okay? You know it's going to be hot and it's going to be humid. These kids want to be here. We hear a lot about it. Oh, man, kids have changed today. You know what's changed today? Mom, Dad, Grandma, and Grandpa. We didn't change more than the kids. Kids want to work. A lot of them really want to work. And so you are really seeing, and a lot of times these are 3-a-days that go on Sunday and Monday. These kids are working. They hydrated really, really well. Everybody's keeping an eye on everything. But the fact that they are here goes to show, man, 700 kids, they working hard out here, and you're getting some of the best coaches, high school-wise, and former NFL coaches and players to work with.
I think we have a combination of about 10 NFL guys, and one of those guys is Kevin Mawat. He's a gold jacket in 2019. We have 3- and 4-year veteran guys that keep coming back. And what I found now is that as they come with teams, that might be 50, depending on the size of the school, you could have a 15 team members, 20, 25. We got one school that's got 40. We got 2 of them that's got 30. We got a bunch of those. They bring along and nurture the young guy who doesn't know the rope about the camp. After about the 4th practice, they are now veterans themselves. The older guys teach the younger guys how to work, the process of being a good high school football player, and the good coaching they're getting. I mean, our Louisiana high school coaches, I don't know if there's a better group in the nation. We have coaches from Texas, Mississippi, and Louisiana has the majority of our coaches, and of course the NFL guys. And those guys want to give back to our game. They want to make our game better. That's why they just finish OTAs. Some of them get off, finish the practice field, whatever team they're at, what NFL team. They kiss their wife and kids bye, and they jump on a plane and they're here. So that's dedication, and they're giving back to the game of football.
Coach, one of the things is we see it a lot. There's a lot of recruiting camps that go on across the country. You sort of get invited. It's a lot of one-on-ones that happen. Okay, the biggest foe you have to deal with here is yourself. Okay, because that's the biggest opponent. You got to, kind of trick yourself into playing through this heat and humidity, but you're not up against somebody else one-on-one. It's a lot of skill work. And again, the fact that it's not a recruiting camp, I don't care if you're a freshman or a second stringer as a sophomore and a junior, or you're a guy that's, once his high school career is over with, it's over with. You're just trying to help him become a better high school player.
And that's the mission. You just gave the mission statement of the camp, to be a better football player, technique-wise, and it's repetitious from this. They do the same thing over and over. When the ball is snapped, whether it's the run game or the pass game, you do the same thing over and over. But who's the guy that can take his technique, what has he learned here from all that good coaching, and bring it back to your hometown and make your team better? And that's basically the mission statement of the camp.
Coach, thanks so much for everything you do, man. We really appreciate it. All those years in the high school ranks, you coached here at Nicholls State, and but it keeps you in the game.
Yes.
And that's the important thing.
Yes, it does. And we start the process of registration. The beginning of January, we open up the online process, and we didn't used to close, but we have to now because we run out of beds on the Nicholls campus. We have right under 700, but we got to take into account we have 50 coaches. We've got 30 trainers, all the trainers, the medical staff, and so on. So we've got a good bunch of guys that in a week's time, in a 7-day period on the Nicholls campus, we have 700. The Mannings have 1,200. That's 1,900. Then we have 50 coaches. The Mannings have 200, plus the 40 top quality quarterbacks. And then we got trainers here from Mississippi State, Michigan, California, that are taking care of all the medical needs.
All right, don't go away. We'll have some more when we come back, right around the corner. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
And welcome back now as Mike Detillier is going to talk with Coach Kyle Lasseigne about how the Edie White program attends this camp every year.
Mike Detillier here for HTV. I'm with the head football coach at Edie White Catholic, Kyle Lasseigne. Kyle, great to see you again. Man, the last 2 years for you have been terrific. Maybe didn't end like you wanted it, but man, overall, man, you look at this football team and what you've been able to get out of it, it's really amazing.
It really has. You know, this actually goes back to about maybe 3 years ago. Went to the semis, didn't perform very well, went to the finals against U High, great football game, and then last year against St. Thomas More again. So we got some things rolling, got great participation in the program, got over 100 kids every year. So got some excitement going on at Edie White.
How you look at this camp here, this isn't a recruiting camp here in Thibodaux. This is a basically fundamentals, teaching techniques, leverage type game because, you know, we can talk about you need a quarterback to win. I don't care how you cut it. You need a quarterback. But, man, you don't win in the trenches, you ain't winning nothing.
If you had to go back and look at the last 3 years, we were really good in the trenches. And that makes a difference, man. In the world of 7-on-7 football right now, where people just want to sit back and throw the football and linemen are not included, makes a big difference when you put those guys out there and you can knock some people around. You can move the football because of it. That's why our kids come here. I mean, we're not going to have a ton of kids sign scholarship, D1 scholarships, but they're here to learn. Not everything they do here corresponds to our offense, but there's some things that have to get taught when they get back to us as well. But it's been a great experience for our kids.
Also, too, this isn't about if you're a first string or not. Right. You could be a freshman.
Right.
You could be a second string guy as a sophomore, junior coming in. This is about getting you to be the best high school football player you can be.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that our kids get to practice together, freshmen through seniors.
How many kids you have here?
I think we got 22 here. I got a few D linemen and probably got close to 20 offensive linemen. Whoa. And look, when you come to watch our practice, we're only going to have probably 25 offensive linemen. Most of our linemen are here. It's just a great camp. It's in our backyard. You know, we don't have to travel to come to it, and we learn a lot. So when you see our group, you'll see freshmen all the way through seniors. You'll see starters and non-starters. You're going to see some kids that we hope to develop in a couple years. So it's across the board, but the camaraderie that they get from this camp is tremendous, and I'm glad to get to work together.
Kyle, one of the things I did a little research on, the most injured players on a football team, offensive linemen, tackles and guards.
Absolutely.
So you can say, that guy's a second string guy for me. Guess what? Eventually he's going to be a starter for you.
Absolutely. We learned that last year real quick. We probably had 10 kids get at least 5 games of action last season just because of injuries. We had to roll kids in. Fortunately, we had some depth last year, and we were able to do that. But that's why this is important. There's some guys out here that you probably don't project you being on the field Friday. They'll be on the field Fridays because of injuries. So I'm grateful they're out here. I'm hoping we stay healthy.
Okay, I'll ask you this question. Because a lot of people ask it to me, and I don't have a really good answer for it. We see a lot of rotation along defensive line constantly. You know, because, you know, you're playing most of the time with 4 people down. But a lot of times, you know, you see 7 or 8 guys. Why doesn't that happen along the offensive line?
I think
camaraderie?
For us anyway, camaraderie is part of it. But we've had kids that are significantly better than other kids.
Okay.
And they probably deserve to be on. If there's a kid who's a fringe starter, yeah, we'll rotate those guys. And that's probably why just the talent gap between an older kid and a younger kid usually is so great. It's so great. You know, difference between a sophomore and a senior.
It's a big difference.
Going to war on Friday, it's a huge difference. Mentality is also part of it. You know, those older kids just have that mentality that I'm going to go out and try to dominate somebody. Younger kids kind of doubt themselves. So you see that.
you and I growing up, okay, if they threw 8-10 passes in a game, that was plenty. Now they throw 8 to 10 passes in a quarter for some teams. But you still got to be able to run the football and stop the run. Those are like basics as far as football is concerned, and that's what this camp's all about.
Absolutely. You know, I think that throwing the football is a great thing. It's a great thing. We do it to take advantage of defenses who are going to have people in the box and try to stop us that way. But look, we're never going to throw it 40 times a game. We're going to be efficient at it, and we got some kids that can go and catch the football. But this camp for us is getting better at a part of the game that we already we want to be strong at. We want to run the football, and it's probably because it's against the trend of football right now. You know, everybody wants to throw the football.
Right.
People practice that way. And when you smash them, when you go right at them and run the football, it's a different experience for them. It's tough to get ready for that in 1 week.
My thing is in the fourth quarter, it tests your courage when teams run the ball at you.
Absolutely. You'll see some people just give up. They also want to get their athletes back on the field and try to come from behind or extend the lead. And when you possess that football and keep their athletes on the sidelines on offense, and you'll frustrate some people by doing it that way.
You got away from the game for a little while. How gratifying is it for you to be back in the game, working with kids? Because you know what, Pete and I talked about this, that you know, for everybody says, oh, the young generation, they changed today. They got more toys, especially electronic-wise, and they spend more time inside than we did. You know what's changed? Mom and Dad, Grandma and Grandpa.
All right. Great job from Nicholls State University. We'll have a lot more in HTV. Don't go away.